פרס למנצחים בעונה 4, חוויית נסיעה מטורפת ברכב מרוץ פרוטוטייפ במסלול ערד.
Welcome, everybody, to Israel Racing League, a bi-weekly battle over the course of 6 months to determine who is the best sim racer in Israel. I'm your host, Jim Hodson. Joining me on commentary is Dane Baird, who recently learned to whistle. And making us all look good with a steady hand on the tiller of this ship is Mr. Mark Tranter. Thank you so much. Let us look, if we could, at the championship standings before they get away from us. Lots to talk about. We got a lot going on tonight. As you can see, Alan Day at the top of the standings, but as we were just commenting sort of to one another, weren't we, Dane? He's not got too much of a lead.
Absolutely not. It's only 12 points ahead of Dorian Tabashnik, the two of them rejoining for Season 4. So yeah, those two right up at the top. Michael Sherling, Chachashvili not too far behind, but it's very, very close in the midfield. You can see 68, 67, 66, 64 points near the end of the top 10 and into the middle of the 10 to 20 range. Very, very close indeed.
Yes, and I am expecting quite a battle tonight between Alan Day and Dorian Tabashnik, if for no other reason than when I went to, learn how to drive this track myself. Well, first of all, the setups, of course, are by this man, Alan Day. But when I went to learn this track, whose track guide should I find on YouTube but Dorian Tabashnik? So both of these drivers, very familiar with the course. They will, know just every single inch of the thing. So I'd expect to see a good battle between them. But Sherling has been showing himself very well during practice tonight as well. So crazily enough, tonight we have a double header for you. It's going to be an absolute mind blower. So 2 races. The first one is 8 laps or 15 minutes. Second race, right after the first, 16 laps or 25 minutes. But the second race is going to be a reverse grid of the first 9 places of race 1. That might sound complicated. And if it does, it's only because it is pretty complicated. But what it's going to mean, is a lot of on-track action. And this track is, to call it technical is really to do a disservice to the concept of a technical track. Very bumpy, very hard to drive, isn't it, Dane?
Absolutely, and on most of the corners you've got these massive blue and white curbs that cover the actual curbs of the streets. So the drivers don't have to run over those, because that would be disastrous. But these blue and white curbs, they are huge. So getting up on them, especially in the Dallara F3 machine, is going to probably be an race ender. But yeah, the bumps definitely unsettle the car through every single corner around here. And once you lose the car, as we've seen many, many times at this circuit, the walls are very close. So there is not much you can do to save it.
No, as that GM executive found out in 2018, a fact which will never stop amusing me. If you haven't seen him crash a Corvette at Valhalla back in 2018, do look that up on YouTube. Well, the battle between Day and Tabashnik is shaping up here. It looks as though Day might have just had a lap that he was plenty pleased with. We're only 6 minutes through qualifying, so there is more time to go. Tabashnik's got his work cut out for him to catch up today. These guys were lapping sort of in the high 122s, but they've brought that down to Day's done a 122.6. Tabashnik's still at 122.8. So a lot of work to do on Tabashnik's part if he wants to catch up today. The rest of the field within a second, all the way down to Levitt, running in P10 currently. Honestly, I was expecting a slightly better showing from Sherling just because he was so fast in practice. He probably has another half second in him, which would bring him pretty close to Day's time. But being able to do it in practice and being able to do it in qualifying are two very different things.
Absolutely. The pressure on the drivers in qualifying is much greater, and that can introduce mistakes and just generally more skillless driving from the drivers. Especially at a track like Bellard, the bumps make you pretty on edge as it is. At the pressure of qualifying, that's not doing too much for your nerves. So yeah, pretty impressive time from Alan Day up at the top. And the top 10 all separated by under a second, so still pretty close there at the top. But I think That just about rounds everything up in 8 minutes of qualifying, and we'll get the grid up on the screen.
Yes, indeed. Well, here are the results, and this will be your grid. In P1 is Alan Day. No surprise there, and no surprise to see Dorian Tabachnik sharing the front row with him. They are followed by Amir Meshlam and Michael Sherling, on the second row. And on row 3, there's Peter Green and Ruben Chachishvili in P6, followed by Dekal Nar and Gilad Heskia in 7th and 8th. In 9th, we have Alan Zeltzer, and he is joined by Adam Levitt. Just behind them are Rand Sione and John Chico in 11th and 12th. They are followed by Sar Dekel, Nir Kopp, Yehuda Ben Yosef, and Rand Kiselstein. They're followed by Madi Bakar, Tomer Devra, Oren Sadeh, Yaroslav Malkov, Ariel DeBush, Eden Scher, Tomer Ventura, and Relit Sir, all the way down to P24. Following those guys, we have Yossi Kabai. Surprised to see him down in 25th, and Yevgeny Patton there in 26th place. Those guys are followed by Leon Portman, Zvi Leshetz, in 28th, Moshe Pinchevsky in 29th, and Michael Wasserman in P30. So that's your grid, and we should be getting started racing here in just a few seconds. Dane, where does this track land in your mind? If you're sitting on the grid right now, getting ready to drive this track, what are you saying to yourself?
Don't wreck on the first lap. Definitely up there in my thoughts at any race, but especially at a street circuit, so Belle Isle and Long Beach. Definitely don't crash, don't hit the wall, especially if I'm starting near the front. If I'm starting near the back, I want to be on edge watching every single driver around me at the same time, because pile-ups are pretty much inevitable here as the lights are on.
Yes, indeed, and we will be underway shortly, and we are indeed underway. Everybody gets a good start. Great start by Sherling there. He's able to take a place headed into turn 2. Careful on the throttle here so we don't have any sort of issues. It looks like everybody's through turn 2 and onto the straight successfully. Great start there by Sherling. He just stomped on the gas and was able to get around Meshlam. And it looks like Meshlam was thinking about trying to have a little look there into that heavy braking zone, but did not quite get close enough to make it happen. He's going to have to settle for P4, or at least this first, this opening lap of the race. Sherling's got to be so pleased with himself. Now, Dave would have advised these cars not to crash, but as you can see them setting up to turn, to go through turn 6. Oh dear, does Levitt have an issue?
I think he's just had a bit of an issue. I think he lost the rear end coming out of, well, this is actually probably one of the most difficult acceleration zones on the circuit. Really, really bumpy over the crest, a little bit of contact, hits the inside wall, and then gets collected by the number 3 machine of John Chico, who really had nowhere to go. So very unfortunate there.
Wow, you don't often see cars 3 wide at Belle Isle, and I'm sure those drivers would not have chosen to do that. Looked like cars were 2 wide back there. We're looking at Chachishvili's car.
Peter Green getting all sorts of sideways through the middle of the final 2 corners.
I think that might have been Chico. Well, the Kopp is red now. Pinchevsky, it looks like he might be having an issue. And Kiselstein is now dropping down the timing tower, as is Scher.
Quite a few drivers heading into the pits at the end of that first lap. And it seems as though quite a few drivers have had some contact and have been given penalties. Dorian Tabachnik dropping down the order just ahead of Heskia says, Dorian Tabachnik gone straight on? I think he might have gone straight on at turn 3. But certainly lots of drivers falling down the order. Let's see what happened to Dorian.
Well, here he is. Heavy braking zone here at the end of the straight. Well, yes, you're absolutely right, Dan. It looked like he just missed his braking zone there, didn't he? And he should know. Again, I learned how to drive this track from that man. So here we are with Zeltzer. And now back to Gabai. Looks like he is going to attempt to pass on Ventura's car if he can make it happen. And didn't quite get it done there into turn 7, but plenty of turns left to go, of course. A little bit of a do-or-die race, isn't this, Dame? Just because of the fact that it's, only 8 laps. It's almost like this, often you'll have sort of a middle part of the race where things sort of settle down and concentration becomes an issue, but this is just going to be an all-out battle start to finish.
Yeah, and especially with Belle not being the easiest place to overtake at, because there's only really 2 heavy braking zones where overtaking is possible. Heading down in towards turn 3 where we are now, down the bumpy straight and into the even bumpier braking zone. You can see the cars bobbing up and down as they head through turn 3. That's the heaviest braking zone on the circuit. And then later on in the lap, the back straight. But that isn't the easiest place to overtake because it hasn't got a curved entry, as it looks like Zeltzer and Sione are going side by side.
Well, Zeltzer just had a little bit of an issue there. The rear of the car bumping around. Just getting on the power. I was just about to say, you're driving here on, this is Strand Drive, the straight between turn 6 and 7. If you get on the power at all in that bumpy zone, the car will move all over the place, and it's not the only place on the track where that can happen. Belle very technical.
Yeah, traction in pretty much all of the acceleration zones. Very difficult indeed. And Heskey is on his... Oh wait, I was about to say on the roof, but there isn't really a roof with these cars. He was just upside down. What has happened there? That's a very weird place to be stuck upside down.
Oh, got on the wall. Well, very easy to do, you know, especially when you're, you know, just overdriving the car a little bit. No runoff here at Belle Isle, of course, just like Long Beach, as you mentioned. So any little mistake is going to put you into the wall, as we see Bakar and Ben Youssef, I believe, here battling.
I think that's the 91 machine of Z Lachette's, and he is just getting out of the way on the right-hand side of the circle, on the left-hand side of our screen. But these 3 drivers here battling very closely indeed. Peyton and Goodbye going side by side further back.
And once more, we will head through turn 6 onto the long straight of Strand Drive. The long, bumpy, sort of snaking straight with that bent braking zone at turn 7, as you mentioned. So even though it is a heavy braking, you know, spot, you can see the drivers there snaking to the right to try to get to straighten out that entry. And again, you know, of course, this is a concrete surface, so not quite the same ability to brake a car as would be perfect tarmac.
Oh dear. That's Peyton, and off into the barrier he goes. He wasn't able to slow the car down. Just went slammed really hard backwards into the barrier. Unfortunately there, Cheshire setting the purple lap. It's the fastest lap of anybody in the race so far on the 4th time of asking. So he's trying to close down that gap to Anno Meshlam, who is in 3rd, but after 4 laps, just about halfway through the first race, Alan Day still leads by about 1.2 seconds.
Sherling using every bit of the track there. You can see the sparks flying off his wheels as he sets in to turn into these corners, because he's scraping them on the K-rails at the side of the track. Sherling very ready to catch up to Day and make something happen. And it looks like Day's got a couple of back markers ahead, so Sherling may very well get his wish. These drivers during the practice session were within hundreds of one another. So I would very much... Well, this is just going to be a great battle here. It's going to be just a competition to see who blinks first. I could be mistaken, but I thought I saw a little puff of smoke from Day's tires there, so that might have brought Sherling just a hair closer. But this will be quite a battle to see it develop.
Car number 50, that's Ariel Bush, has been given a drive-through penalty. So I'm not too sure what that's for. But oh, that's an interesting place for a lapped car to let Michael Sherling by. He's going to lose a little bit of time for that. That was the number 16 of Heskia. That was very interesting. I'm sure that Michael Sherling wouldn't have appreciated that. We actually saw that almost exactly the same thing happened last night in Spec Racer 4s.
It did indeed. I'm sure that Sherling, as you say, was probably not too terribly pleased with that particular passing location between turns 1 and 2, but it didn't stop him getting the fastest lap of the race as he just crossed the start-finish line a moment before. So fastest lap of the race now down to 1:23.02, held by Sherling. This is Tabachnik getting a pass into turn 3.
Tabachnik,
I'm sure, is not...
pleased.
Yeah, very much like to be a little bit farther up the timing tower, I'm sure. But if he can shovel himself, if Tabachnik can shovel himself up into P9, then he'll start the second race on pole because of the reverse grid. So might not be too big of an ask to get up to 9th place in 3 laps. Well, I don't know. That seems like a lot now that I say it.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tall order for him. He has just got past Thermo Ventura, but now we're looking at Wasserman, and he is under pressure from Deco Nar, and Nar makes that move look easy. Down the back straight, he's carried a lot of speed through that corner. I thought for a second he might end up in the outside tyre barrier. I know I've done that many times.
Yep. Absolutely, and the battle continues between Nar and Malkov here. Nar just looking for any spot that he could try to get by. Oh! Malkov touches the wall there, but doesn't give... Is he going to be able to pass on the final turn? Looks like it.
Yeah, I think the exit speed for Malkov non-existent after that scrape against the wall. So Deconar moves up into 18th then. Now what has happened to Devra? In the number 15 he is out.
We'll go to him here. Here he is.
Oh dear.
Into the wall. And into the wall again. And once more. So, yep, that is the end of his race. I'm pretty sure he might decide to take a fast repair and get back into things. I believe these drivers each have 2. So, of course, you'd prefer not to use one at all. Shirley once again setting the fastest lap of the race at a 1:22.4. Times unbelievably are coming down. We are now on the last lap. The leaders are anyway.
It's now or never for Michael Shirley if he wants to make a move. Only really one overtaking opportunity left for Alan Day. It's just surviving the last few corners. And he will take home the victory for race number 1. What will be very interesting to watch is how these drivers at the front are going to handle the reverse grid, because Alan Day, well, assuming he finishes the race in first, just has to navigate the last couple of corners. He'll be starting in 9th, Michael Sherling in 8th, and so on. So the top 9 reverse, that's going to be interesting to see in race number 2.
Yes, indeed. Well, race number 1 is just coming to a close here as we ride on board with Alan Day. Just finishing up the last few turns of the course, and it does not look like Sherling is going to be able to do anything about it. He's been at 7/10 for a couple of laps now. And there is your winner for Heat 1. Alan Day, winner and fastest lap of the race, then beaten for fastest lap of the race on the final lap of the race by Michael Sherling. What a drive for Sherling. And we've seen him in P4 2 races this season, but this is, I believe, is his best result this season so far. Well done to Michael Sherling. The rest of the field finishing up now. There's Tabachnik, was not able to get quite up into 9th place. And will have to settle for 11th.
But finishing in 11th means he's going to start just 2 places behind Alan Day in race number 2. So he's not going to have too much more of a disadvantage in race 2 as his championship rivals.
So he'll be behind Mikel in 10th place. And let's see. Dekel's best lap 2 seconds slower than Tabachnik, so Tabachnik should be able to get around him pretty quickly. And maybe... Did Gabai have a wreck over the finish line?
Chelsea Gabai slowing down over the finish line and getting collected by the driver crossing the line behind. I think that might have been Wasserman.
Well, here are the results from Heat 1. Alan Day takes the win, followed by Michael Sherling, Amir Meshlam, Ruben Chechishvili in P4, Peter Green, Rancioni in 6th, Alan Zeltzer, Madi Bakar, Yuda Ben Yosef in 9th, and Sar Dekel in 10th there. So everybody from 9th on down will reverse for the next grid, and here is that grid. Yehuda Ben Yosef in P1, followed by Amadi Bakar in second. And then Alan Zeltzer and Rancioni on the second row, followed by Peter Green and Ruben Chachishvili in P6. Look out for him. I would expect to see big things from him in this race. In P7, of course, we have Meshlam, followed by Sherling in P8, Day in 9th, and Deckel in 10th. So keep your eye on everybody. Well, keep your eye on everybody, won't you? We should be starting in just about a minute here. And here come the lights, and we will be underway shortly. Off we go. Not a great start for Ben Yosef, who gets immediately passed by Bakar into turn 1. I'm hoping to see a clean rest of the field getting through turn 2 back there, and so far it looks relatively good. 3 wide down the straight into turn 3. And that's Chachishvili there. Stay clean.
Just about managed that. Almost 4 wide. Someone's gone off in the background. I think that might be John Chico taking the escape road there, but Tabashnik up into 6th, and he might have one more here. Alon Day and Meshlam, meanwhile, they're fighting further back, so a great start for Tabashnik. Yeah, absolutely right. Tabashnik leapt all the way up from he was in 12th, was he not? Yeah, he's leaped up 5 positions since the start, but Alon Day, he's right where he started, 9th. Having said that, he's now side by side with Peter Green, and he makes the move up the inside. He's now in 8th. Who is that in the way? Alon Day in the wall.
Oh no. Is that Sione?
It is. I think he was just trying to get out of the way there, but potentially for a slowdown. But unfortunately, he got in the way of Alon Day, and Alon Day, I'm pretty sure will have some damage. Everyone bouncing off the wall there.
Yeah. It looks like they are being. It looks like they're continuing without any further damage. But we just saw Tabashnik and Chachishvili both have a little tap of the wall with their rear wheels. There's a slowed car back there in turn 2. Not a great. Well, not that there's a great spot anywhere on track to be slowed down like that, but hopefully out of the line of fire. Heading down to turn 3 here. Settling into the race somewhat. Well, as I say that, there's a huge off back there in turn 3. Is that Ventura? Running on board. Peter Green here.
Oh!
Just a little bit of overbrake.
Oh, dear. And that looks like the rear wing off for that car. Alon Day trying to get past Ruben Chachishvili. Sends it down the inside on the back straight. Ruben holding it around the outside. He'll have the inside line for the next corner. Alon Day fighting the car around there. You still have the outside line, but if he can hold it, he might be able to send it up the inside. He does. Really, probably the bumpiest part of the circuit that we're in at the moment. They're still side by side. Now, this is an area you don't want to go side by side in. And you can see Ruben backs out. Oh, but he gets connected behind by Sherling. Both of them into the wall. Meshlam gets past, and now they're 3 wide behind Alon.
Fastest lap of the race so far by Bakar. I was just thinking that was really gonna work in Sherling's favor and allow him to get past those 2 cars battling as they were, but it has not. Fastest lap now by Tabashnik, and those cars touch, but somehow continue.
Now they're almost 4 wide.
Sherling somehow able to continue despite the damage that he certainly has.
I think both Chachishvili and Sherling have quite a bit of damage. They're getting caught up by Deckel now. So this is going to be a little bit tricky for them. And you can see the damage on the front of Sherling's car. He's got a little bit of a bent wing. There is a car in front of them going slowly. I think that's a lapped car. Yes, it is. And there's the 91. Swedish chats again. Getting out of the way. Oh, Chachishvili, how has he caught that? That was an insane catch.
Yeah, normally these cars, if you get on too much on the power, especially on a track like this, they are gone. There's no getting them back. But of course, Stratusvili, no slouch behind the wheel, was able to catch it. We're just taking over lap 4 now, so a quarter of the way through the race. Day with the fastest lap of the race so far at a 1:22.9, storming through the field, and will do everything he can. He's 5 seconds back from Bakar, who's leading. Bakar's got a gap of 2 seconds on Ben Yosef. So Bakar will be thinking to himself, hey, I might have this thing in the bag if I can just hold all these guys off. The only problem is he's got all of these fast drivers behind him doing everything they can to catch him up.
And he has to do it for another 12 laps after this one. So he's got quite a lot of time that he has to stay ahead. A little bit of a touch for the wall again for Ruben Stratusvili, and again. So he's really testing the limits.
That was a big touch of the wall for Sherling that time. Thought I saw one of his wheels come off, but it was just my eyes playing tricks on me.
Oh, they're going side by side for the lead. Matty Bakar, what's happened to him? He's had an issue and he's all the way on the outside. And that allows Alon Day to try and go side by side with Zeltzer. What's happened?
Little touch from Tabachnik there.
And now they're side by side. Tabachnik and Ben Yosef with Alon Day side by side just behind as well. And Dorian Tabachnik inherits the lead. Alon Day, he's up into third.
Wow. Chaos. Running here along with Day, he will not want to let Tabachnik stay up front too long. He'll certainly want to do what he can to take that away. The only problem for Day is he's first got to handle Ben Yosef. He's been lapping quite well, I must say. And as Dane pointed out, not a lot of passing options on this track, especially when the car that you'd like to pass, in this case Ben Yosef, gets a better exit onto the long straight than you do. Well, Day, having made the setups for this racing series, you would think would have a little bit of an advantage just knowing the car better than anybody else, but these guys do put in a lot of practice, so it might not be the case. Day moves his car to the inside, has a look, not quite close enough to try anything down into turn 1, but I would not be surprised if there was a move from Day at the end of the straight here at turn 3. We just moved through 2. He will try to slot his car behind Ben Yosef's and get the toe all the way down to turn 3. Doesn't look like Ben Yosef is going to fight it too much. Not much he can do anyway. Day takes him under braking. Ben Yosef leaves plenty of room. Very neatly done, both of those cars.
On the outside from a little bit, but Sherling just about holding on to his top 10 at the moment. That damage is going to be hindering him quite a lot compared to the drivers that are ahead of him. So being able to hold off the drivers behind is crucial. Almost getting shunted in the rear was Yossi Abai from the bush just behind, practically pushing him along. Now the bush with a massive block down the straight. Near Kopch trying to make a move down the inside, but that's not going to work this time by.
Was there a car that went straight at the end of the straight there?
Judging by the fact that there's a replay, I think there was. I missed it, but what's happened to Thomas Devra? Oh, that's a lock-up. Oh, and has he managed to avoid the wall?
Looked like he might have narrowly avoided the wall, but he hasn't done himself any favors in terms of lap time. Great battle here between Gabai and DeBusch and Kopp. Sure that DeBusch will be looking to make a move at the end of this straight into turn 3. Gabai's not moving over for him. Oh dear. Wow, what a pass that was on DeBusch's part. Car out of control, somehow manages to slide through and avoid disaster. You don't see too many of those. That usually goes a much different way.
Yeah, that reminds me of Kimi Räikkönen in the Hungarian Grand Prix back in, must have been 2015.
Back when Kimi gave a... Well, never mind.
Let's see it from on board the number 50, and just ahead is Yossi Goodbye. Michael Schörling, big loser from that. Huge send, huge oversteer through the corner. Did an amazing job to save it, but Michael Schörling, massive loser out of all of that, and he's now out of the race, down in 19th. What's happened to Michael Schörling?
Yeah, as you say, huge send there. Sideways, is that Cher? Goodbye is not letting DeBusch go, is he? And Kopp is ready to make, is ready to make something happen here if he possibly can. Goodbye looking at the inside this time in turn 3. Don't think he's close enough, even for a unbelievable send like we saw in the last lap. Goodbye is very much in danger now of being pounced upon himself by Kopp.
Absolutely, and just nearing the halfway point for race number 2. On day at the front, 1.6 seconds behind Tabashnik. That's not close enough by any means to make a move, but Tabashnik will still definitely be under pressure from that. He'll definitely be seeing Alain Day in his mirrors. That gap increasing slightly over the final couple of corners of the lap. And that's because Dorian Tabashnik sets the fastest lap of the race at 122.298. That was 2 thousandths faster than Alain Day's time.
What a race we have on our hands, folks.
2 thousandths.
Yeah, unbelievable. Let me just go ahead and tell you, Dane and viewers, if I were in Tabashnik's place, I would unquestionably end up losing because I would crash. But Tabashnik has put in a lot of time on this course, so we've got a real battle on our hands here.
Absolutely, and he's extended his gap a little bit more in the first sector. So it's looking good for the driver of the number 7. Matty Bakar just behind Ivan Scher. Battle for 12th position. Ivan Scher up 12 positions in the race so far. Ariel DeBusch, he's up 17.
Wow.
And they do get points, remember, for the most places gained. So the driver with the most places gained gets 4 points. Then the second highest gets 3, and the third highest gets 2, and the fourth highest gets 1. So there are bonus points for that. So yeah, it looks like for now, Ariel DeBusch, he's gained himself an extra 4 bonus points.
You gotta like a league with lots of ways to get points, Just keeps everybody invested in having a good time. Speaking of invested in having a good time, Goodbye there. So far holding off the train behind him, but... Malkov
has just dropped off the timing tower down to 20th position. What has happened? As I say that, we're going to see what happened to Yaroslav in the 233. That looks like too much speed. Yes, it is. Bang, bang. Bits of carbon fiber going everywhere. Luckily, there wasn't anyone around him.
Yeah, poor combo. Too much speed and too much curb. It'll be a little bit easier to pack up that car when we're done with the race because all the pieces will pile up into a nice pile. We'll have to carry it, of course. Well, the race goes on for these guys. Is it Ben Yosef at the lead of this train?
Yes, it is.
10 machine.
They've got an 8-second or 7-second gap between themselves and Alain Day up ahead. So they've also got these three drivers, a 9-second gap between themselves and Deco just behind them. But out on date, says the fastest lap of the race, 1:22.05.
And just before he crossed the finish line with that lap, Kovachnik did a 1:22.10. So it was fastest lap of the race and then immediately beaten by Day, getting a faster lap of the race.
The only two drivers in the 1:22s except Gerhard Hesketh down in 18th.
Go on, let's go.
He is a minute down on the leaders.
Peter Green's turned to 1:22.9.
At the end of this train, looking a little bit impatient maybe. He wants to try and get past Alan Zeltzer as quickly as possible. They'll have 5 laps to go when they cross the line next. Ooh, very on edge. The car there through that corner. Probably, like I said earlier, the bumpiest part of the circuit, so you don't want to be carrying too much speed through there.
Absolutely right, and you do have to be careful with the accelerator on those bumps. It looked to me a little bit like Zeltzer's car, like the rear stepped out just a bit. Michelin's got to get this done pretty soon if it's going to happen. And yet there goes Zeltzer's car getting away. I don't think Michelin's going to be close enough to try anything into turn 3.
Just have to try and keep the pressure on, try and force a mistake, but it's a mistake from the driver of the 777 machine, as he clips a little bit too much of the inside curve, and that hinders his exit speed. Lost a tiny bit of time there, and you have to do it all over again. However, Alan Zeltzer not getting the best run out of turn 6, so on the back straight, and actually I'm in the draft, he's going to have a little bit of a time gain. He looks to the inside, but I don't think that was to make a move. That was more of him popping out in the mirrors saying hello.
Well, it is a good strategy, isn't it, to get in the other guy's mirrors, let him just make sure that he knows that you're there, fill up his mirrors if you can. But it's also important not to make a mistake yourself while you're doing it. Looks to me like Ben Yosef has increased his lead over Zeltzer just a hair. So maybe just taking a tenth here and there. I think you're right, Dane. I think Michelin is maybe just driving that car a little bit impatiently. He probably is thinking to himself, I could get by Ben Yosef if only I could catch him. A little bit closer this time as they turn onto the straight. Slightly better run, I think, for Michelin through turn 2. We'll have a look at the inside while we're looking at his trees here. Again, wasn't quite close enough to get it done.
Yeah, he's just moving about in the mirrors. In GT cars, you've got the lights that you flash to try and put off your opponent, but obviously you don't have those on the Formula cars, so you weave about in the mirrors.
You can put your hand up in the air, but they have to be looking in the mirror to see it.
All right, this is the best opportunity he's going to get. He's going to go for it surely. Down the inside he goes. Beautiful move.
Yeah.
Now he's got 2 second, just over 1 second gap to the number 10 of Ben Yosef just ahead of him. He's got to try catch that up in 3 laps.
Well, we're looking at Cop on DeBusch here. The battle for 8th place. And looked like a slight mistake from DeBusch there, but Cop not quite close enough to capitalize. His next best opportunity, if he can stay close, is the same spot that we just saw into turn 3. They will go around once more, and I believe these drivers it'll be starting lap 14 for them. So we'll see if Comp can stay close enough to DeBusch to try to make something happen into turn 3. What kind of a run does he get through 1? Pretty close. How about 2? Might be within drafting range. Looking pretty good there. DeBusch leaves him plenty of room. Nope, Cop not quite close enough to try full send down into turn 3, but now very close to one another. Now nose to tail as they continue, and he's going to have another opportunity, will Cop. down into turn 7 at the end of this back straight if he gets a good run here through 6. Not too bad. Certainly within drafting range, I would think. So let's see if anything happens here at the end of this back straight. Busch moves far over to try to defend his position. Kopp does have a look at the inside, but not quite close enough. And there's a wrecked car.
2 wrecked cars. That was Wasserman and Malkov, yes. And Alon Date, oh, he's just set another purple lap. He's closing down the gap, but with only 2 laps to go for the guys up in front, 1.4 seconds is not going to cut it for Alon Date if he's going to try and beat Dorian by the end of this race.
Yes, Tabachnik will be, I'm sure, just overjoyed if he's able to hold Day off. This will break Day's streak of wins if Tabachnik is able to do it. Day has won every race so far in this season.
Oh, Yehuda Ben Yosef is out of race. So what has happened? Could it be an incident with the league organizer himself, Amir Meshlan? Let's see. Into turn 3. Doesn't look like it. At least on my end, he's just disappeared on my screen.
Yeah.
So unfortunate.
Well, these things do happen. Meshlan inherits 3rd place. Oh, there's Ben Yosef is back now.
Back on the timing tower. Don't think he's back on track, unfortunately. Ah, there he is. He is back. Spotty connection.
They're your leaders once again, setting fastest laps of the race. Day has got this gap down to 7/10. Will he be able to get around Tabachnik? Tabachnik held up just a little bit there, I think, by the number 13 machine of Ventura, headed into turn 3. So now Day all over the rear of Tabachnik as we are going on the final lap. Day will surely have a look at the end of this back straight into turn 7. Tabachnik a little bit early on the power there, loses the rear of the car. Day all over the rear of Tabachnik's car. We will definitely see a pass attempt here at the end of the straight. Day now pulls alongside. What will happen here into turn 7? Day's got the inside, too wide, still too wide. Unbelievably, now Tabachnik will have the advantage. They're both into the wall. They touch. Tabachnik through. Day's got damage. Car slowing down now. Oh, look at that crabbing car. He just got into the wall and has damaged his suspension on the final lap. He moves out of the way. Can barely control the car, I think. That's just the
car. Yeah, that's the car pulling to the right-hand side. You can see he had almost 180 degrees of lock on the car to keep it in a straight line. That car's very damaged indeed, but Tabachnik takes the win. For the first time, Alon Day doesn't take the win in the iRacing Israel League Season 4, but yeah, that car, I think that's the front right, is completely dislodged.
Well, he managed to crab his way home for P2 anyway, did Day. Well, congratulations to Tabachnik on his win in P3 there. Meshlan managed to make it happen. Unfortunate that Ben Yosef had connection issues, but Meshlan inherits P3. There's just finishing now. There's the Busch. And Kopp did manage to get by the Busch there. Kopp takes 7th place. There we go. Cher is finishing in P10. Sione had an exciting race, especially, had a little bit of on-track action, did Sione. So it's nice to see him finish in 11th. I'm sure he'll be pleased with that, given how the race unfolded. Just a few more cars now finishing up. Pinchevsky and Gabay. Heskia. And there we go. What a double header that was. Almost unbelievable. Wow. We should have our results here shortly. And there they are. Congratulations to your winner, Dorian Tabachnik, who takes 1st place. What a race this was. followed very closely by Alan Day with just that slight, oh, well, I say slight, but an incident there between turn 8 and 9, I think that was, in the complex between 7 and 10. Meshlam in P3, followed by Zeltzer in P4, and Deckel in 5th, who's followed by Chechishvili. I would expect to see him a little bit higher, but P6 is nothing to sneeze at. He's followed by Nir Kopp, Ariel DeBush, Madi Bakar, and Edon Sher, all the way down to P10. They're followed by Rancioni, Tomer Devra, Moshe Pinchevsky, Yossi Gabai, Gilad Heskia, and Ben Yosef in 16th. Unfortunate to see that happen to Ben Yosef, who's followed by Tomer Ventura, John Chico, Declan Nar, Peter Green, Oren Sadeh, Zvi Lachetz in 22nd place. Wasserman, Portman, and Malkov there, 23 through 25th, who are followed by Adam Levitt, Michael Sherling, all the way down in 27th, Really Sir Yevgeny Patent, and Ran Kizelstein in 30th. So let's see if anybody comes by to talk to us, and I hope they will. But Dane, we were expecting a pretty chaotic couple of races here at Belle Isle, and I think we got what we were asking for, didn't we?
Absolutely, it was a fantastic round. Races 4 and 5 of the season. Alan Day narrowly missing out on taking his 5th win of 5 in the season so far, and you can see the start. Ben Yosef, he just went backwards at the start there, and Dorian Tabashnik, well, he catapulted himself up into 6th by the halfway mark of the first lap of the race. He had an awesome start at the start of that second race, and that just propelled him on to the position where he could comfortably sit in the lead until the end of the race.
Yeah, I don't know how comfortable it was, just given that Day was breathing all over him, but he certainly made it happen. And like we spoke about at the top, we were expecting to see these two drivers battling it out on the track today, and that's exactly what happened. Wow, look at it. These guys dealing with all of this traffic just in slow motion. It's a beautiful picture there.
And they almost went 4 wide in towards turn 3 for the first time, which was quite insane. If you think about it, the track really wide here, but very narrow straight after the corner.
And a 90-degree corner there. Yeah.
It definitely does narrow up on the exit.
Yeah, I think you would just about... Well, let's see. Does Meshlam get around to make it an official 4 wide? Doesn't look like he quite gets there, but I think we'll go ahead and call it 4 wide anyway. 3 wide through turn 3. That's unbelievable. Surprising that just didn't result in pieces of carbon fiber everywhere. Look at that. That's a promo shot for this series right there.
Absolutely, and one of the drivers in the shot at the moment is now in the interview waiting area, Jim. I think we have got race 1 winner and race 2 runner-up, Alan Day.
Yes, indeed.
Who wants to have a quick word. Let's get him in here.
Nope. Alan Day, are you there? Are you joining us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
There he is. Well, what a series of races that was. I was expecting a battle between you and Tabachnik today, and that's exactly what we got. So talk us through race 1. How did that unfold for you?
Race 1 was pretty easy from the moment that Dorian, I guess he spun. I don't know what happened to him. And since that moment, I knew that I just need to take it easy and cross the finish line. But the second race was challenging because I don't know where Dorian came from. I think he started behind me, and somehow he managed to pass me, and we went through the field up to first and second. And I knew that I'm pretty sure we both pushed 110% because I was really trying to catch him. So yeah, it was a good fight. In the end, I guess we catch some back markers that totally ignored blue flag, or I don't know what happened there. But yeah, it was a good fight. It was a good fight. Unfortunately, it finished I guess in the wall, but still managed somehow to finish P2 without getting any technical penalty. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty great. Well, it was just an awesome battle to watch. We thought that really thought that Tabachnik was going to be able to stay away from you, but as you say, you guys ran into that back marker and it closed it up for you, and that's when we really knew. We knew that you were going to at least have a look, if not affect a pass there into turn 7, and then you guys were running too wide, and then man, just what a
Yeah,
battle.
yeah, always the battles with Dorians are usually usually fair and good. Um, yeah, I guess he slid a bit, got some understeer, and pushed me to the wall. But anyway, he deserved that win. He was in this race. He was clearly doing better performance than me. And the fact that I was able to challenging him in the very last lap, I guess it's just because of the back marker. So big congratulations to him, and yeah, up to Okayama.
Yeah, absolutely. We will see you at Okayama. It might not have gone your way today, but the rest of the races certainly have. So, we will definitely be looking for you and most likely seeing you at the sharp part of the field in 2 weeks.
Exactly. Yep. See you in 2 weeks, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That was your race winner, Alan Day. And I believe we have, excuse me, your P2 today, your championship leader, Alan Day, but we do have our race winner, Dane.
Absolutely, and he joins us now, Dorian. Well, first win after coming back to the Israel League, and you couldn't have left it later to defend from Alon Day there at the end.
Yeah, that came in real clutch. I wish it would have been in better circumstances though, because I feel kind of guilty about sending him off into the wall. There it was a very tight corner to go side by side, and neither of us wanted to give up. The thing is, I was in a nice little 1.1 second gap from him, but for some reason, Tomo Ventura he refused to let me go on the straights to comply to the blue flag, and he only let me go into the technical section where it slowed me down significantly, and Alona was right on me at that point, and we both knew it was do or die from that point on. Yeah, but I'm very happy I finally took a W. The first race didn't go too well. I missed a breaking point, and I missed it by about 50 meters, just went straight on. Luckily, I avoided damage. I waited patiently for everyone to go past, and just try to survive from that point on.
Absolutely, survival was key in the race. We saw ahead of you and behind you during the second race, at least, many drivers making mistakes, especially yourself at the start of race 1. Alon saying that he was actually worried about the battle between you two in race 1, but then you went straight on at turn 3. How do you come back from doing that? Because you dropped quite far down the field. Of course, at the start of the race, everyone's all bunched up. So how did you have to change your mindset to be able to make your way back up to 11th at the end of race 1?
Yeah, well, it's certainly disheartening once you're fighting for the lead potentially. I mean, technically, let's be honest with ourselves. Alon is faster than me on this track, significantly so. So it would have been a problem to try to overtake him anyway. I was kind of settled in for second, but losing about 20 positions right off the bat like that was a little annoying. But I really want to go back to the track. I was looking at all the traffic passing by, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna ruin anyone's race because I'm too eager. We have drop weeks in this league, so you can be patient. You can afford to drop a race or two, and no harm, no foul will still still be good on your scoreboard. So I had to just take a nice breather and try to collect them one by one instead of just going for the whole group altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. And you managed to do that very well indeed, picking them off one by one and taking advantage of the deadly nature of Belle Isle, where a little mistake and someone could be in the wall. You find yourself in the wall at the start of race 2, I believe, a couple of
I had
times with
yeah,
out of the final
I had
corner.
about
Yeah.
I had about 5 0Xs wall contacts. I was going full Tony Hawk Pro Skater on those walls, man. I was going for wall rides the whole way through because I knew it was I knew Alon will catch up. It's the rate of him catching up that I was concerned about. So I had to push at 100%. That was a complete race. I've never done a race in my life when I pushed 100% the whole race. That was the first time. Usually when you're in the lead, you kind of settle down, take it down 10, 15%. But I couldn't do that. So I was just pushing very hard. And yeah, that it fell through. It was a good strategy, but a risky one at that. I could have very easily ended up in a wall and just end my race.
Absolutely. Well, Dorian, congratulations on your first win of the season. It took five goes at it, but you finally made to the top step of the podium. 2 weeks' time, Okayama. What are your thoughts on that circuit?
Good track. I like Okayama, unlike a lot of people. But the thing is, the weather can be very tricky there. You can race in like 60 Celsius sometimes. So I hope it will be good weather. And if it is, it'll be a lot of fun. If not, it'll be very challenging. But either way, it should be good overtaking points there, overtaking spots, unlike Detroit. You got turn one, you got the back straight and the hairpin there. So there's good overtaking points, good places to draft. So I'm looking forward to it. Should be interesting.
Absolutely. And with the added strategy of mandatory pit stop, that's going to be a thriller. Well, Dorian, thank you so much for joining us for an interview. Congrats on the win. Before we let you go, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, nothing much. Thank you guys for the broadcast. Really nice to see it every time after the race. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun this one. See ya.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yep. Bye bye.
Well, fantastic. That was your race winner, Dorian Tabachnik. And I think we have time for just really quickly. We could have one more interview here. And it looks like we've got our P3 finisher, Amir Meshlam. Amir, are you hearing us?
Hi, yes, I can hear you.
There he is.
Hey,
Congratulations. Congratulations on your P3 finish today. We're running a little bit short on time, but just wanted to speak with you very quickly. So how did your race go?
Well, I knew that in this track, it's all about being safe and not crash. So the first race, I mean, I was very surprised that I was able to do a third in the qualify. So at the beginning of the race, I didn't push hard. I let 2 or 3 people that I knew that are faster than me to pass me. I mean, I didn't fight that hard. And in the end, it's a race and a very difficult track. So people crash, people made mistake. I found myself at 3rd place. And in race 2, the same thing. I let 3 or 4 people that's faster than me. I didn't fight them. I let them pass. And then everyone make mistakes. I was able not to do any mistake. And I was able to have 2 podiums, which is the best result I think I had so far in the league. So that's great.
Yeah, it really worked out great for you. It looked like you were developing to have a pretty good battle there with Ben Yosef toward the end of the race. And then I guess he had some connection issues. How did that look from your perspective?
Yeah, actually, first it was Alon, I think, that was ahead of me. And it took me like 3 laps until I was able to pass him. And then I had Yuda. And like half a lap after I got into Yuda, he just disappeared. I didn't see anything on my screen. So I just drove. And hopefully I didn't crash into him because of some netcode or anything, because he was not on my screen. I just drove all the way without knowing where he is.
Yeah, that's a scary moment, but I'm glad it worked out. Yeah, I mean, as you say, you ended up with 2 podiums, so that's pretty good, and that should look pretty good for your championship points after today. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. We're waiting to upload the new champion points and see where I'm located. This is very exciting. And
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Well, there were 2 very exciting races today. Congratulations again on your finish. That was your P3 finisher, Amir Meshlam. A great race. As everybody has mentioned, we are looking forward, Dane, aren't we, to Okayama?
Absolutely. I can't wait. I've seen many good races in this league at Okayama, so it's definitely going to be a good race. I cannot wait for that. And of course, pit stops return. So that's always good to throw a little spanner in the works.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is also a track that I don't know. I just feel like these cars will look a bit more at home on that track. I don't know. Well, we'll see. I'm certainly looking forward to it, though. It's going to be a great race. Join us in 2 weeks. But for tonight, for myself, for Dane Baird, and for Mark Tranter, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.